Hello YouTube, this is Josh with Destinations Adventure. This is officially my first attempt at a vlog. Up to now, most videos that I've made has been, you know, just wearing the GoPro on a chesty, or utilizing a gimbal or something when I'm doing mountain bike riding or kayaking or riding a motorcycle, but I've never been able to talk. So hopefully this will bring a new aspect to my videos, and it'll be more entertaining and more likable from viewers like yourself. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Today my first vlog is going to be about my 2018 Honda Goldwing GL1800. It is the non-automatic. I did try the automatic for about a week and just was not comfortable with the shifting by itself. It was convenient, yes, but you couldn't anticipate the shifting. And when you went to slow down, there were so many times I would ghost clutch, because I'm so used to a clutch that I would reach for a clutch that wasn't there, and it would put me in a slight panic. I know it takes a little longer to get used to that, but I just decided that I didn't like it and went ahead and went with this model. Now, this particular one that I had purchased, I purchased in December of 2018. Had 0 miles on it. I hadn't rolled off the showroom floor. The dealership that I went to tried to take me for a ride as far as pricing goes, and tried to sell it to me for about $32,500. And I was not going to pay $32,000 for a bike that I knew was MSRP'd at $25,500 or to $27,500. So what I ended up agreeing with them is I told them I know that it was way overpriced. I knew what the MSRP was. I know they wanted to make a profit, and I definitely was in the market for saving money. So I offered them the price of $28,500 out the door, and they agreed. Now, after that was said and done, I would say after my first month and a half, 2 months of riding a bike, I definitely felt like I was taken to the bank, and that I paid way too much for this motorcycle. Honda in general has a really good product. I'll stand by them all day long, and I'm not trying to bash Honda, but the price of the Goldwing, you're paying for the name, not so much the motorcycle. Wonderful motorcycle, cruise control, luxury bike. It's the first one I've ever owned. It's an outstanding model, but for almost $3,000 or $30,000, it's way overpriced. I would say this bike, as it sets, base model, should have been about no more than $20,000. I would have been more comfortable with paying about $20,000 for the bike after experiencing it. But I'm not going to go on a negative tangent with the aspect of the price that I paid for it, because ultimately I decided to agree to pay what I paid. So with that being said, things that I dealt with this bike after I had gotten it was, number one, my windscreen. The windscreen, unfortunately, what you would deal with is occasionally it stops working. I'll sit here and try to adjust it down and adjust it up, and it wouldn't do anything. And I'm like, okay, why is that doing that? So what I found out I would have to do when apparently it's some kind of glitch in the computer system, didn't recognize it whenever the bike was booting up or whatever. But you have to pull off the road, turn the bike off, turn it back on, wait for it to run through its sequence, and then you'll see the windscreen move by itself. And once it does that, then you know at that point you'll be able to use your up and down switch, because other than that it wouldn't work at all. It happens every once in a while. It isn't all the time. I've learned how to work around it and make it work, but for a $30,000 bike, you would think that that shouldn't be an issue. There's a lot of electronics going on in here. Another thing that I dealt with this bike was my cruise control. I would set my cruise. I'd never had a bike before with a cruise on it, so this was my first one. I set my cruise control as I'm supposed to, and it'd make it about a mile and then it'd shut itself off and the bike would slow down. It's like, okay, why is the cruise just disengaging? I'm not bumping any brakes, I'm not disengaging it, it's just shutting off on its own. This went on for about a week or so, and I was able to finally pinpoint the issue as my right brake pedal. The tension on the cable was a little bit too taut, so whenever I would hit a bump, it would give a false braking signal to the cruise control, which would automatically cause it to disengage. So I was able to fix that, and I haven't had a problem since. Another issue that I had, just like many of the other Goldwings for this model, is the trunk and the side saddles not latching all the way. But there's plenty of videos out there on YouTube that actually point to the reason why. These things aren't meant to be slammed shut. You push them until they engage, and then you push them in until you hear them click. Once they click, then the indicator on the dash here will go out, and it'll show that they're actually closed like they're supposed to be. Another thing that I dealt with, and I'm still dealing with this bike, I haven't taken it back to the dealer. I've got about 17,000 miles on the bike now, is my reverse. Now, I'm late 30s, so I'm still pretty strong enough to move the bike as I need to back it up and do whatever I need to with it. But in times that I need my reverse, it's really aggravating when you go and put it in neutral and you press the reverse button, and then you go to press reverse and then it just wants to click because it hasn't engaged. It just wants to sound like gears grinding, but it doesn't go anywhere. Then you have to, turn it off. You have to sit there, put it into first, bump it up into second, pop it back into neutral, try to reset it again, roll the bike 3 inches forward, roll the bike 3 inches back, try to set it again, and eventually it engages and grabs. But a majority of the time what I deal with, I fight more with trying to get this thing to go in reverse than it actually just going into reverse. And it's just really frustrating, once again, for a $30,000 bike, that it should have issues like this. But like I said, I haven't taken it back to the dealership, and nothing's really been done about it. I just deal with it because I can still manage the bike just fine. Positives about the bike: gas mileage is outstanding. I get roughly, on a full tank, almost 300 miles, 320. That's if I'm not going excessive speeds. Clearly, once you start going 80, 90 mile an hour, which you shouldn't do ever, it'll start sucking up that fuel. And it still doesn't suck it up compared to a vehicle. It's just that you lose probably about 40 miles over the whole duration of the tank. Another positive: very smooth running engine. Like I said, prior to this bike, I owned a Concourse, a 2015 Concourse, so it was a sport touring. It just didn't have the all the electronics and stuff, and that was a pretty smooth bike. It was very fast. This bike definitely, it's quick, but it's not as fast as a Concourse was. But anyways, the gas mileage is better, and it runs a whole lot smoother. This is like a Cadillac. You sit in the seat, you're good for 2-3 hours of riding, and it doesn't really affect you, before you need a butt brake. Like I said before, I stand behind Honda's engineering. I've always liked Honda's equipment. Everything motorized that I've dealt with Honda has always been top notch. So one reason that I ended up getting this motorcycle was because I wanted to be able to have a bike that I could take my wife on trips to the mountains and stuff, because I love going to the mountains. I go to the Blue Ridge at least twice a year. As a matter of fact, in a week I'm going to be going up there on a solo trip. I'll be going to Front Royal, catching the north end of the Skyline Drive in Virginia. I'll drive that south, spend the next 3 or 4 days. It dumps into the Blue Ridge Parkway and goes all the way down to Cherokee, North Carolina. So I'll be taking some video and stuff then. As I'm running down that trail, I plan on doing a vlog every day about the trip. Maybe doing a little bit of video on every, once 5 minutes every hour or something like that, just to try to video this whole trip and see how it turns out. So more than likely, if I get good footage and I'm happy with the outcome of that video, you'll be seeing it here on YouTube. For now, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. If you like this video, please click subscribe, the like button, click that bell so that every time that a new video comes up, it alerts you. And with that being said, y'all be safe out there, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.